Why is staying calm so hard in real life? If you've ever asked that question, especially if you've had a moment recently where you lost your patience or felt overwhelmed, I want you to hear something first. That doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're failing. This video isn't about fixing any of us. It's not about techniques or instructions. It's about understanding why staying calm is genuinely difficult and why that difficulty kind of makes sense once you see it more clearly. If parts of this feel uncomfortable as you watch, or the way you've been feeling recently hasn't been exactly what you want, that's okay. That's often what clarity feels like before it turns into something steadier. And there's one idea I want you to hold on to as we go through this video. Something that makes clarity feel safer, even at the beginning. You cannot change what you refuse to name. So what we're doing in this video is learning to name what's been happening, calmly, without judgment, and letting awareness do its job. Staying calm often feels hard because life doesn't arrive with one problem at a time. It arrives in layers. There's work, family, responsibility, and more often than not, there are things you're carrying from years ago all happening at once. Most of the time, there's no real pause between any of that. Your nervous system doesn't get to rest. It just moves from one demand straight on to the next. So if you struggle to stay calm, it's often not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're trying to regulate yourself in an environment that just doesn't slow down. So by the time people start asking themselves questions like, why can't I just stay calm? They're usually already blaming themselves. Their attention isn't on what's happening around them. It's turned inwards and it's critical. And in most cases, the judgment is entirely unfair. This is often the very beginning of awareness. And at this stage, awareness doesn't feel empowering yet. Sometimes clarity doesn't feel like a cure at the start. It just feels like you've noticed the problem without knowing what to do next. Once awareness switches on, comparison is usually what follows. You start looking at other people and thinking things like, they seem calmer than me. They handle things better than I do. Why is this so hard for me? That comparison is automatic. It's perfectly normal. It's instinctive. And when you're struggling, it's impossible not to do it. But again, it's also deeply unfair because what you're usually comparing is your beginning to somebody else's progress. And there's one thing I want you to hear now that I wish somebody had said to me when I first arrived at this point. Don't compare your beginnings to somebody else's middle. Don't compare your beginnings to somebody else's middle. There is no final stage where people are just calm all the time. There's no permanent ending point. What you're seeing in others is often repetition, time, and exposure, not strength, talent, and superiority. If this feels hard right now, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's often a sign that awareness has just really started for you. Clarity, like I said, isn't always a cure at the start. But if you can see, if you never get the chance to see what's happening clearly, you never get the chance to fix it or resolve it. So yes, this part here can feel heavy. It might potentially even be the hardest stage. but it also means you've taken a step that many people never reach. Not because you're better than them, but because you're beginning to see things as they really are. And that matters, because most of us are still trying to hold everything together so the people around us don't have to. We're not looking to walk away from that responsibility or stop holding everything up. More often than not, we're just looking for a way to carry everything while feeling calmer, not being crushed by the responsibility of holding it. Emotional regulation isn't about control, it's about the space between impulse and response. The small gap, the pause before reacting, is what protects your relationships, your energy, and your decisions. Things like breathing, stepping away, pausing before you respond aren't tricks or hacks. They are what protect that gap. The gap is what makes emotional regulation sustainable. Burnout tries to shrink it. Pressure makes it feel smaller than it actually is. That's why awareness doesn't start with action. The first thing awareness does is let you know those gaps exist, and that they exist specifically for you. Because until you see them, you can't protect them. Regulation doesn't mean never feeling heightened or overwhelmed or upset. It just means gradually learning how to stay present when those feelings show up. And learning that takes time, repetition, and patience. Now, a lot of people get to this point and think, I can't stay calm for a day. How am I supposed to regulate myself when I can't stay calm in the first place? That thought feels logical, but it's also a way of inviting pressure back into the room. Okay? Think about it like this. You wouldn't judge a film in its opening 5 minutes. You wouldn't judge a new season or a new series of something in the first episode. Regulation develops much in the same way. Not through effort, not through perfection, but through time, patience, and repetition. Small moments of awareness are what slowly change the baseline. At first, you might only notice the gap after you've reacted, which is normal at the start. That's how most people notice those gaps. But then you might notice them during a moment where you've gone to react, or you've started to react, and that's when you notice the gaps. But with enough time and patience and care, you eventually start to notice those gaps before you react. That doesn't mean you never slip again, that you are calm forevermore. It just means you learn how to return to calm faster. If you're at the beginning, there isn't a floor you can fall through. This is where the process starts for everybody, where it started for me. And the moment you stop expecting yourself to carry everything perfectly, and instead allow yourself to carry it more sustainably, regulation becomes something that grows. But it only becomes that because you're no longer trying to force it. This video isn't here to give you answers to everything. And it's not asking you to change anything you're doing right now. The only job this video was designed to do was to give you clarity. Not so that you can fix yourself or to see something that needs fixing, but so that you can pause long enough just to see what's happening around you safely and calmly. Emotional regulation doesn't arrive all at once. It grows slowly, imperceptibly, 1% at a time. For now, it's enough that to know that you have noticed what you've been carrying, and to know that nothing about what you're carrying makes you weak or broken. Awareness usually feels like weight just before it feels like relief. And the fact you're still here and watching means you're actually closer to becoming the person you want to be than maybe you realise.